So I'm hanging out with my friend Alisa, and we were both talking about basically women who have like blocked sexual energy in their body. And for a man, I know when I was younger, I sometimes would be with a woman and I wasn't like sexually polarized or something about her body. It could be where it wasn't so much the way that she was moving, but something would turn me off where I actually would maybe even lose my erection. And then later on, as I learned a little bit more about sexuality and sexual abuse and so forth, I learned that sexual trauma was possibly still in their body, that it was blocked energy, and it would diffuse that energy. And if you understand the chakra system, you know it's already that it's a flow of energy all the way around your body. And if there's a disruption, if there's a blocked energy in here, the energy cannot move. And that would shift my energy to where it would affect my sexual performance or how I'd feel with this person. And you do a lot of work with women, and you actually can like sense it by the way they walk. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, I can always see it when they walk into the room, how their body's moving, how they stand, where the block is, how they engage in speaking with me. Of course, I bring up a trigger for a lot of women in the fact that I own my sexuality. And so there's an inferior experience that they've actually shared with me at times.
Really?
Yeah, they're very open. Most of the women I work with.
Now, and as far as, could you describe like what you feel as like in more detail, or is it the way that they, like, what is that? Or is it intuition, or do you feel their pain too sometimes? What is it?
Yeah, it's a combination of all of it. There is a rigid, if I had to describe a word, a rigidness within their body, a very tense kind of stance to them, and so the breath isn't connected either with the way the body moves, and so even their walk is very intense, sometimes very masculine if they've been in the masculine space a lot. And
Alisa does workshops with women, and what would be something you would do to help them to break that open? I mean, could you share that on camera? Like if you know that there's that energy there, would it be releasing anger? Would it be working them out? Would it be yoga, dance, or is it all of them?
It's all of them, and it's also probably going to be incorporated with some kind of writing assignment, so they can get quiet, connect with their thoughts in that way, and then move with their thoughts too physically. You know, so that's going to be usually the process. How it actually goes down is going to be different for each person. But yeah, definitely some movement in there. I think there's this thought process for society that thinks that women know how to move just because we're the flow of movement. And that is so not the case.
Tell me more about that. I mean, I've never actually asked you this. I don't know if you had been, like, when you're younger, sexually violated, if you ever have been closed down yourself, like maybe this is how you maybe got into some of this work. Did that happen with you? I mean,
yeah. Well, I was sexually assaulted at 12. Okay. Yet the interesting thing about that was, I was very aware of it, so I didn't believe that it shut down me sexually in any ways. I was very open, and probably because I grew up being a dancer, so I was exposed to a lot of the arts and sexuality and that, so I understood it as a small child. So the violation really didn't shut me down that way. It was more the post-traumatic stress of being held in a room at gunpoint. But it wasn't the sexual part of that. Okay. It was the other part. Losing my life was the trauma for me.
I'm actually really glad that you were very clear about how you saw the sexual trauma maybe being different for you, because there's different layers of being traumatized. And when I worked with people who maybe went over the rape, maybe with 5 different therapists, there was something else going on. It was maybe the fear of death. It was the trauma by going to the police and being rejected, saying that you probably deserve this, look at the way that you dress, or going to their father and the father saying, you know, you dress like a slut or something. There's so many layers to trauma, and it's interesting that you brought this up, because if there's someone out there watching this and you feel that there's something still stuck, it's very important to really look at the bigger picture of the entire experience. Like, what was that? What was traumatic about that? Yeah.
Well, so I'm 12 years old, and I have this awareness at 12 years old about this, which that to me blew me away. But in the course of the event, there was another girlfriend of mine that was put in another room, and we were separated. Well, the trauma for me was if I left and escaped for help, would she be killed?
Wow.
So this was the process that was going on as I was locked in the room. So the sexual molestation in that was not the breakdown of fear for me, in that it was a responsibility of saving someone's life, keeping myself safe, and then as I fast forwarded after we got out of the situation, then the police not really doing anything about it. So an authority, if you can take that authority figure. So that started that whole path of me not really having a respect level for authority figures in that way, and then the court system not following through. You know, he couldn't come within 100 feet of me. I was 12 years old. Are you kidding? 100 feet. So then again, authority figures in that. So that's where for me the stress level was. The sexuality didn't come in, the trauma with that at all. It was more being taken captive.
Yeah, it's interesting. And it's great. I mean, now look what you're doing. You're helping women move through that. Yeah. So of course everything has a purpose, right? The awareness, though, to me fascinated me at 12 years old, that I had that conscious awareness going through my mind while the whole event was going on, after, and then the chain of events that led me, you know, into different situations after that. Because there were things to work through, and at that time back then they didn't work. You didn't go see a therapist. You didn't work through. It was kind of they looked at it. They dealt with it very minor, and then they brushed it under the rug and move on. Yeah, it was probably more in ahead. What I really appreciate about your work is that it's movement to connect to that. You know, maybe the unconscious feelings and experiences, or the words that have not been expressed, but also you have like a cognitive process also where you have people pair up and do assignments. Yeah, absolutely. Because you can't avoid the thinking mind. Yet, if we can talk a situation, you know, over and beat it to death and never get any place with it, because that energy, like you started talking about in the beginning, is stuck someplace, and you know, and for women, it's, you know, usually lower chakra there. So, and then they take that into relationships. You know, if there's a blockage, it doesn't even have to be sexual trauma where the blockage starts. Yeah. But it's going to affect their sex life. Yeah. And being a woman in that way. And I found it fascinating that you said, you know, there was a time maybe where you were with a woman who had this trauma, and then you would lose an erection because a lack of energetic connection. Yes. Yeah, I would feel it. I mean, I can actually just hug a woman and I can feel the block energy. And that doesn't necessarily mean the person has to be sexually traumatized, but I'm just saying when there's a block in an energetic field, a man might not feel polarized. Yes. And what most people call it is, I didn't feel chemistry. Oh, yeah. What really is chemistry? It's usually a energetic connection, and if it's not flowing there, then you're not going to feel with that person.
If you were being offered some free tools that could get you unstuck, would you be interested? If so, visit raydoctor.com and receive your free transformational exercises. Imagine starting each day feeling deeper love, a clearer mind, and being able to say to yourself, I really feel good. My clients love these, and so will you. Get them now for free at raydoctor.com.